Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 8.6. Okay. We're looking up here. We're defending against an attack by Stalin himself. Good old Uncle Joe. They sort of charged in a little too early, and since they don't have frontage, they just don't have enough depth. They just got beat up too bad. Let's a little bit more speed it up. There we go. And of course, my big and main complaint whenever we're fighting in deep Russia is supplies. Okay, there we lost a province. Where do we lose it? Oh, here. Good, we're penetrating deep. What other province did we lose? Oh, down here. Yeah, you're pocketed. You don't have much in the way of supplies, so you're just gonna sit down here. Hold the victory point of, what is it? I think it's just two. Yeah, Baku should be higher. 4, 5. I mean, it's no, Stalingrad or anything, but okay, you've got supplies. You start moving. We've had a major defeat. We lost. You're okay. Now. Repair the right share defense. Okay, get us some. Waiting for that to go non-red. I don't even want to. For a moment, maybe even. Have problems. Major defeat. We'll keep marching up that way. We'll go there just to sort of mess with them a bit. How are we doing out here? You head back in. You stop. You don't need you shattering. How are we doing up here? I'm gonna check since starting this episode. Oh, you're about to go down. Send these medium bombers up here. Okay, well, it'll get messed up. Oh, 6 hours. Okay, that's pretty good. So you can attack. Well, let's send you back. No, let's send you over here. Let the Romanians worry about supplying you. You come up to here. Oh good, we've taken out that base. Sort of impatient for time-wise, so we're going to do a ground attack even though only and we have a Stalingrad pocket situation. How classic. Okay. I think we can let them continue to do that. Okay, you move forward. Do we have any supplies coming out here? A little bit, but not much. Let's see what the terrain looks like. Oh, this is just lots of forest. Okay, cool. Cavalry and some light infantry do okay there. Look at that. We get reinforced in time. Okay, well, you strike there. You strike there with them. You strike there with these guys supporting. Yes, of course I did make the... I'm rushing very fast towards Stalingrad. I don't know, maybe a mistake, but if I can grab it. So currently, let's see, where are we at? On the Soviet surrender, we are at 68%, plus a little more. So, if we can get... And I'm sort of hoping a little bit for some events that will help knock the Soviets back. 10 points there. And 15 points there. That's 25 points from 68. Well, of course it doesn't make 100%, but still. Oh, they got... What happened to them? Oh, shattered. Damn! Shouldn't have sent a man. These guys up and they've rested a little bit. Let's send them here. Ground attack. Maybe do some good. Maybe not. Okay, well. Okay, I'm gonna save it and see, because I know it's red there because of something, but I don't know if we're gonna crash or not. Oh, we didn't. Okay, just always sort of worry a bit. Various effects have pulled it down to, you know, not nearly as good as it could be. Some, as we can see, are sort of ongoing, but Moscow Rail being built is minus 10%. Leningrad Rail being rebuilt minus 5%. Führer headquarters construction minus 5%. Those will go away. Ukrainian rail being built 15%. Crimean 2%, Belarus, however, 10%. Those are all Central Rail Construction, Southern Rail Construction 1%. Formation of the foreign SS units is 2.5%, but that's going to be ongoing. We sort of know that kind of thing. So a bunch of those have all compounded to hurt our production heavily. Bills to join Stalin. Oh, garrison unit. Oh, bloody hell. We may not be able to get this. Come on, Japanese. Come on, get in there and help me out. Doing okay in this northern front. This is a bit of a problem. Oh, that division shattered. Where that was. Oh good, we've taken out this pocket. You can stop advancing. You guys just defend yourselves. Let these guys occupy. We've got another mission or two in them. Oh, another unit. Doing the sort of historical thing. Bad foreign units shattering. Look like what happened in reality. Who would have thunk it? Okay, you can come back. Here. Let's see if we can find. You can fly here. I always seem to need them, you know, in a sort of in a timely now sort of manner. So I don't ever let them get fully organized before I send them into bomb, like these guys are bombing right now. Hopefully to shatter, disrupt. Get ashore before. Okay, new regulation. Major General Adolf von Schell of the Shell Plan, who is General Bevel Markleiter für das Kraftwagensen, Director of Motor Transport. See, hey, you could have just called it Director of Motor Transport, but hey, you know, Germans, we could triple the number of syllables. Yes. Or more, yes, okay. Yeah, I'm making fun of your language. You can make fun of mine if you want to. Calls in the press for increased use of wood gas for powering automobiles. Companies will have to start making conversions for automobiles and testing for military vehicles. Okay. I know that, so I think this works with coal too. There's what is known as coal gas. If you, because I'm telling you this, I know a few of you have maybe watched the earlier series, so you know, but there's a lot of I know I'm talking to a very international audience here. There's a lot of talk on different energy types going on, and there's a lot of, in my opinion, misconceptions about it. There's reality too. Again, I'll state, global temperatures are changing. Global temperatures have been warming up since the at least mid-18th century or before, because we had a mini ice age. I know this from history. There was the medieval warm period. It got colder in the Renaissance. Clothing styles changed to much thicker in certain parts of Europe. I know this in a sort of a Eurocentric, because that's the area that I've studied. They didn't have good thermometers back then, so we don't know exactly how cold or warm it was. So it got colder. It has been warming up since the sort of cold period after the medieval warm period. Now, this has been interpreted as global warming. I don't know if it's regional or global, meaning it may be getting colder in the southern hemisphere while getting warmer where most people live in the northern hemisphere. So I don't know, but I do know that it's changing, and I do know that this is pre-industrial. This has been interpreted in the modern religion or belief system of global warming that's man-caused. I do not see enough significant effort or evidence that it is man-caused in any significant amount. So Al Gore and his hockey stick, and the sort of belief with the Kyoto Accords and the Paris Accords after that man is causing it, and man has any substantial ability to change it, I don't see any solid evidence of it. Maybe that's what's going on, but again, I don't see evidence of it. I do see evidence of warming. But the warming could be just going back to the old medieval warm period or the classic warm period of the Roman Empire. Those were two warmer periods in history. During the Dark Ages, it cooled off as well. We know this from various crops not growing in certain areas, clothing style changes, and other things we can look at. So I'm not going to go into it any further than that, but climate does change over times in waves. I don't know. It may keep getting warmer and warmer and warmer and warmer. I doubt it, but it may. So a lot of this comes down is to fuel usage and fuel types, and that I do want a generally clean environment, especially where I'm living. So I do want certain levels of regulation for clean air, water. Okay, back to it. You have coal gas. Coal gas used to be used to power or to light, say, like London. They would, Britain has lots of coal. They would mine the coal. They would bring it into big plants, and they would burn the coal. Burning the coal would, at the right conditions, would release a gas that would then be piped through London, and then you would have both houses and streets, and they would have little gas burners that they would light on fire. And it's the gaslight period, the Sherlock Holmes era. That was the majority of the gas, my understanding, is coal gas that you get from burning coal. That had lots and lots of pollutants, okay, people? Mainly that it had lots and lots and lots of pollutants because they didn't do any sort of scrubbing or any sort of filtering or anything like that. They just burned it and let the smoke go and the gas that goes off of it and whatever. So it was dirty. Wouldn't recommend using it as a main source of power anymore. Without well, you know, you got much better, obviously, is electrical from coal that is relatively clean if you build the power plants right. Now, the other thing is wood gas. If you burn wood, it will release a gas. And I think coal gas would also work in this, but you can burn wood, would release a gas, and then you can feed that gas into an internal combustion engine, car engine, and it will power it. We will see in another event coming for Third Reich events. There was massive uses of wood gas to power vehicles in Britain, in Germany, and in Finland. I do believe other areas, but I know that I have some stats for some of that they built a lot of these things in factory levels, and so that in both Germany and Britain, I know they would use a lot of the waste wood in building whatever, because if you're building a rifle stock, you're cutting wood down to whatever you're going to waste some wood. You're building a building or whatever, there's going to be waste wood built, or used, that's not used. They would use it to power buses, all kinds of civil transport. So if you had an automobile and you wanted to convert it, or a truck, you wanted to convert it to wood gas, you could, as much wood as you wanted to burn, you could drive it around, so you could be fully mobile. There was, under the Shell Director of Motor Transport, tests done. You can see here that obviously this is a little bit later than 1940, testing out a Tiger 1 tank hull. That's a later model half-track. I'm not exactly sure. I think that's like a Panzer II from the road wheels hull. I don't think there's a turret on it, that they were testing out. Now, you can burn the wood and filter it out fairly cleanly. I don't have any good stats on it, but so we could power our automobiles to this day with wood. Finland, and notice I said Germany and Britain, though I do believe they were cutting other sorts of wood down to burn it, including when they were felling trees in Britain for various war elements, all the branches that are just no good for any sort of real usage, they would burn, often in the homes, for heating. It's just in the fireplace. They were doing that now. Finland is heavily wooded with a lot of fairly light trees, I believe, that they were probably cutting down for that, just simply as wood gas use as well, and they're probably using it in other things. So we could do this today. Now, the problem is, if you run your engines by it, it's not very powerful. Not just that it's a big thing that's easily knocked out if you hit it. That's part of the problem. These are experiments. Some stories like, I think this one may come from Germany or somewhere, the local bus, going between towns, converted to wood gas, gets to a hill that's sort of, a part of a steep incline, for a brief period. The passengers would get out, the bus would make it to the top, the passengers would get back in, and on they would go at the sort of the most difficult bits. So it's not near where the bus would easily power it up if it's being run from gasoline. So it doesn't provide enough concentrated gas coming off from the, as if you do sort of natural gas or other sorts of gas that you could concentrate it in to burn it. So it's not giving you enough energy to make it very efficient. That's why really for any sort of I'm actually to some degree surprised how much from the photo evidence that they were trying to experiment with armored fighting vehicles and doing it for it. I guess that to some degree shows the desperations of the German army. Now, where I could see if you had good roads, doing a lot of truck transports to around Russia to feed your army of munitions and stuff. You're sort of behind the scenes operation, and I do know that they did do that. I think a bit more on an ad hoc basis for Germany, but I could see them doing a lot more of that as well. So, and this is unlike coal gas. Wood gas is a renewable resource. So it can be used to this day. Again, you just got to sort of like catalytic converters, and I'm not a science guy or an engineer, but there are reasonable ways to filter it out to make it not significantly more pollutive than gasoline. I know people in engines, they're already complaining about that, but it's a renewable resource that is able to power cars for non-stress situations, running about town. You know, and there's experiments of doing motorcycle with a sidecar. Sidecar sort of becomes the wood gas thing to power that. But you know, you're sort of light automobiles to this day, you could do it. So that's just a renewable resource energy. In Germany, doing this now, we're gaining some more dissent because we're putting regulations that are causing people hassles. We will later get some benefit from that. Okay. I think this is new to me. Kinderland Verschnickung. Again, Germans are able to add more vowels than probably necessary. Evacuation of children in Germany during World War II. It was designed to save children in Nazi Germany from risks of associated with aerial bombing. That's only partly true. Moving them to areas to be less risk. The Germans used the term for this was KLV, a short form of, okay, I don't even need to go for the long. KLV was extended to children at the age of 10 participation. Okay, this was a, and I don't, let's see, do we have a, ooh, yeah, send them away for their security. This was massively unpopular. Many parents wanted to keep their children even in cities that were being bombed. A big reason for this, unlike you saw a move that could have backfired on them, a move to send children to Australia from Britain to get them out of the war. They were, of course, Britain. A lot of British parents were thinking that Britain may be invaded, not just bombed, and we're mainly looking at the war from a European perspective. Obviously, it could have backfired in that Japan could have invaded Australia. Obviously, didn't happen, but that was sort of an extreme measure. There was a lot more of moving them to the countryside in Britain. So their children were relocated to special trains up to the middle of the total. And so this becomes a huge problem in Germany. A lot of parents do not want the state to raise their children. This whole program, I say it's partly true, because there was a massive element of indoctrination with these kids. A big element of deconstruction of religion was going on. Religious households, there was to the point of trying to hide their children from this and get them out, keep them out of this. And sometimes the parents would go and collect their children, somewhat forcibly. This was a real serious problem for Germany, but this was a only partially to get them out of the way of bombing. It was as much or more about re-indoctrination for post-war. So I agree with the amount of dissent this adds. So we are getting much more dissent built in. Okay. Lose some manpower, some supplies. We can afford it. See, we're overbuilding on supplies. We are maxed out on supplies, and we're building more because it's coming back in because we're not doing it. Or we can lose organization. We're gonna take this hit and build another Führer headquarters. This is the one that was built for the southern use, only used once by Hitler in a tunnel that I hide his train in. Stupid thing to build, but hey, and it should be this costly or more. Here's Gruppe South. Has crossed the River Don. Good. Where Crest 3, okay, obviously we know about the earlier ones. Another 1.5% hit to IC, and part of that I do believe is maybe to pay for the additional units there, but also it can be less sufficient manpower because it's going into the army. Okay, wartime role of the Reichsarbeitsdienst der Rebellion Jugend. Okay, basically I believe that is young women. At the beginning of World War II, the RAD became compulsory also for young women. It had been compulsory for men. Women were, hey, join up, have fun, help out the new Germany, but if you don't want to, no problem. It lasted half a year. Many young women who became Blitz maiden female combat soldiers during this period, and now let's just look at some trained people, Reichsbahn here, but they did do anti-aircraft type fighting work. And being an anti-aircraft gunner was a dangerous thing because your city is being bombed. So now you may go, oh well, yeah, but how often do they hit the aircraft? Day and night. How often do they hit the anti-aircraft guns? Well, yeah, but you got to realize the anti-aircraft guns are in and around cities. The cities are being bombed. You're shooting anti-aircraft rounds that go up into the air, explode, and then rain down deadly fragments that if they hit you, potentially depends on velocity and density and size of the fragments, could kill you. That's why they wore. That's part of the reason why they wore helmets, was simply as a deflection device for any aircraft fragments falling back down at you that you're shooting up in the air. And that's coming back down. And also a bit more with the British night bombing, but you fought whatever was coming. You'd have firestorms that would rush about the city, and whether you got burnt up in a firestorm or it's simply, especially even out of doors though, inside buildings often, bunkers, it would pull all the oxygen out, so you would suffocate, and so it may or may not get hot enough to burn you, or fires may or may not get into bunker. But if it sucks all the air out and lasts long enough, no one inside, and I mean last just a few minutes with no oxygen around, 5-10 minutes without any oxygen, everybody in the bunker is dead. So bomb shelter type thing, so, and this was going on obviously. So but if you're out of doors, depending on where you are, how close the firestorm, it can get you there as well too. So these were, deadly, real, these were on the front lines of the air war. Women were serving. So we can do that, gain some manpower or no need. We'll take the manpower since it doesn't seem to have a cost to us. We're doing good on manpower, but okay, return manpower to the pool from air bases. No, okay. Now, what are we doing here? We're attacking. We're attempting to attack. We're going to stop that because we're not winning enough, effectively enough, something. Now you just go to occupy that province. Take on that Panzer division. Shut it down. I was watching a Don't know if it was a documentary or a propaganda film. I didn't get a good title for it. Sort of in between two old movies. I didn't catch part of it. The initial thing, but they were talking about how mainly focused on Britain, that eventually by I think 43 or something, women of a certain age, 20 to 35 or something, that if you were unmarried, basically you were drafted. You had to, if you were married, you could still work, but you weren't required to. But if you were of the other, like 20 to 35, you either had to go into the Army, Navy, or Air Force in Britain, or the Land Army, which is basically a women's RAD, and mostly helped with farming. I mean, unlike, they didn't do so much build roads or other sorts of work that the RAD did in Germany. It was the Women's Land Army, who's mostly just help with farms. So you had to go into the Women's Land Army, or you had to work in a war plant, as an employee, meaning you weren't necessarily like signed up for the Women's Land Army and working in that. You just worked in a munitions factory or in a uniform making factory or a boot making factory, something that was useful for the war effort. And if you had a wartime useful job, you could not be fired or you could not quit without permission from a government office. So you were forced to work there without, obviously, there was ways to if you have a bad boss, or not just a bad boss, but if an intolerable situation, there was appeals and whatever else going, options available. But basically it was, you were there, you were working, you can't be fired, you can't decide to go get another job because you don't like what you're doing, because it's useful to the war. These guys there, come on, collapse. Okay, let's see. We've got these guys. Let's see. Can we supply this up here? No, can't fly into Stalingrad from there. Now, now where are they? From there. Can you fly to Stalingrad? Probably not. No. Where do we have supplies currently? And an airport. There we go. You fly there. We're going to see if we can air supply Stalingrad. Wonder if the Germans ever thought of that one. Don't occupy the province. Oh, come on, Japan, help me out here. We still have some organization barely left. Come on. These guys are too well organized. Okay, what does the terrain look like? Yeah, let's go right in here. Oh, you're still technically defending something? I'll swing you around that way. Oh, the Flak Brigade. Yeah, I think that's over here in this mess. Okay, we're gonna stop this attack before anybody else shatters. Yes, major defeat. What are you gonna do about it? Oh, you're gonna try to break out. Do you have any supplies? How can you have supplies and I don't have any damn supplies anymore? Up around there, you. Who's with them? Alright, we're gonna pause that, but Kurt Eggers, it was named after a guy named Kurt Eggers, is a Swiss volunteers, but they were mainly set up as a correspondence organization within the Waffen-SS. So, yep. Start construction of flak towers. Supplies, energy, money, gain air defense network. Who cares? We'll do it. Build air bases in Poland. Yeah, we've already paid for that, though we don't really need those. Let's put them up top. Be very useful if it was 1940 and we hadn't gone to war with the Soviet Union to get ready for it. That would be very useful. Okay, Stug Life. Major defeat. Okay, well, this will be a major defeat if we actually lose this. Well, we won that battle, that was good. Not crushing my pocket, which is great. Now, I think I have some bombers here that I want to bomb Stalingrad with. Oh, you can support that attack. You stop freaking defending. There we go. Oh good, we're getting some reinforcements it looks like. Oh, mention that. Are we getting any? No, I want that. Any sinkings out here? Okay, well, let's see if we were to try out here. The Japanese are doing good in some places. You're just not helping me here. Well enough, maybe I should say, but let me get to Corky. Okay. Oshotska. Taken. Good. We lose a little bit of descent that we've built up because of our policies. We're now a veteran army, which is good. Organizational regain rate will increase, which is great. If we have supplies, it'll increase, and overall land organization, so great. Oh, propaganda fails. Daily descent +1. Deep battle doctrine has advanced. That is excellent. We're gonna stop that. I thought we stopped that. Oh no, for some reason. There we go. Okay, so are there any? I don't think there's any victory points. Oh, there is some here. Okay. So, oh, stop defending. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Let's attack. Oh, we're still defending. They're attacking my very disorganized forces, but across the river, so I think we'll be okay. That's still a little troubling. We need more supplies. You're mostly just doing the spoiling attack there. Well, let's see if we can find some more air power. I think this is exhausted enough. Well, let's see if we get some of this in good shape. Well organized under Kesselring's command. Okay. Send that up there. I think that'll reach from there. Now let's see if we can find some more to go after. Stalingrad. Yeah, I'll show you. Oh, you're not big enough. You're big enough. Okay, so that worked. I've got all that. Okay, sure, we'll do that. Okay, let's ground attack that. Okay. You attack there. I want you there today, not tomorrow. Well, I'll be there tomorrow also, but don't want to wait. I'm most worried about bombing you. Okay. They didn't last long. Mostly that was the enemy fighters this time. Opposed to anti-aircraft guns. Okay, well. They're defending, they're attacking, Move forward there. Anybody that's not attacking or going in a good direction. How are we doing out here? This is sort of the thing I'm waiting on, that they're damn Japanese aren't getting there fast enough. Okay, yeah, we're gonna stop that attack. Sure, you can occupy that province. Support that attack. Okay, you're now... Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to end the episode here. I want to thank you a lot for watching. I want to thank you for liking the videos. I really do appreciate it. Please post questions, comments, suggestions, ideas. I love hearing from you. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.